All right, folks, what I got here is basically a value vehicle, meaning that what you're going to pay for this car is totally related to the condition and mileage, and you're going to get yourself a pretty decent vehicle. It's not great. It's not brand new, but it is what it is. Let me tell you about it. This is a 2001 Chrysler Concorde. This is what they call the M body, or the cab forward body on this car, and it gives you basically a lot of room. It's a true 5-passenger vehicle. It's in pretty decent shape, runs fantastic. We've driven it about several hundred miles, 300 miles or so. I personally today drove it about 50 miles on Route 80 at higher speeds, and the car runs really, really good. Everything, as far as I can tell, works on it, but let me show you this. It does have 186,199 miles on it. And now, as you can see, there's no check engine lights on. There's no warning lights on. I mean, other than the one saying the trunk's open and I don't have my seatbelt on, because both of those are true statements. Let's go through the equipment as far as I know. That's your right rear window. Right front window, no problem. Come around to this side, left rear window goes up and down just right. And of course, the all-important auto down on the driver's window, and of course it goes up. The mirrors, left mirror seems to work exactly as it's supposed to. And same with the right mirror, and that's the real important one to have work, is that one there. It has an AM/FM aftermarket Pioneer radio. So it does work. I can't comment on how the CD player works. It's one of those little pop-out dealies. I don't have any CDs, so it probably works. I mean, Pioneer's a pretty good brand, but you know, you never know. Cruise control works, tilt works, horn works. Let's check our wipers. Yep, they work just fine. So pretty much, you know, it's not like hugely equipped, but it's pretty nice. It's got the rear trunk release, which does work. I believe this is a power seat too. Now the interior is okay. It's clean. It's got, as you can see, some, you know, burn holes. They look like weed holes to me, like somebody popped a seed, but who knows what goes on in a car before I get it. The steering wheel, you know, has a little bit of wear on it, as it should. You know, the car is, after all, you know, 13 years old or 12 years old, and it's got 186,000 miles on it. So nothing you wouldn't expect from a car of this vintage. In fact, I feel this car is actually in above average shape for the year in mileage, but that'll be up to you to decide whether you believe that or not. Has the power seat, which it does work. Forwards, backwards, up, down, and of course the seat back, that's important, that does work. And this one looks like it's got a fair share of burn holes in it too. Just so you know, I do ozone the cars, meaning I do get rid of all organic smells out of the car so it doesn't smell like a smoker's car. And like I said, that could just be from weed, who knows. All right, moving on, we'll come out here and let me check the tires. I think this thing has what we call pound puppies on it, like lots of different tires, but this one, let's see, has, oops, oh, let me pick my little gizmo up again, try that again. Try to get a fair reading here. And we got, yeah, 7/32, so that means it's got more than half its life left on that tire. Coming around to this left rear tire, let's see what this one's got. That one actually, let me see if I can find a spot to get some good tread reading on. And that one's right around 7/32. So again, half to almost a little over half of the original tread is left. All right, left rear. Let's see what this one says. If I can find the tread. There we go. And that one says about 6/32, 5/32, which it feels better than that, but you know what? The gauge doesn't lie, so if I get the reading again, yeah, there we go. So about 5/32, so a little less than half on the right rear. And the right front looks to be about probably the least amount of tread, but again, we'll go by what the gauge says. And yeah, that one, so I would say out of all these tires, I would put the two best on the back, or on the front, excuse me, it's front wheel drive. And maybe you want to get yourself one or two new tires, but not something you have to do right away. All right, it does have its bumps and bruises on the body, but as you can see, the black paint is clean and shiny and looks nice. I mean, like I said, it's got some scrapes and whatnot. Oh, the paint on the roof, the clear coat is starting to come off, and I believe it's the same on the trunk as well. All right, here is your passenger side. And as you can see, you know, the seat themselves, besides the little burn holes, are in actually excellent condition, I would say, especially considering the mileage. There's your floor. Now we'll do your door jamb. We're on the right front. Now we'll do the door frame. And of course, this is where it gets important, is right in this area here, because if there's going to be rust, it's going to build up under there. But as you can see, pretty darn nice and clean. All right, we'll move to the back of the car. I was hoping to have it overcast for the rest of this video, but I guess I'm not going to be that lucky. The sun's coming out. Not that I have a problem with that, it just doesn't make for a good video. All right, now we'll do your door jamb. And of course, we'll do your door frame. Again, the important parts down the bottom. And as you can see, very nice and clean. Oh, I wanted to mention on these coming back, never mind, I spaced out. I forgot what I was going to say. You know, little scrapes, little bumps, a little bit of the clear coat coming off on the trunk lid, like I said. Here's the back. The bumper's not in horrible shape. As you can see, we'll take a look underneath here. There you go. So get a nice view there. And we'll open the trunk up. I will say this about the trunk. See how it's got these outboard pistons? Now, they're fantastic because instead of having a gooseneck hinge, which, you know, would get in the way of your space, especially if you stacked a bunch of suitcases in this thing, those outboard pistons are great. The problem is, you probably need to get a couple of them because they're not very strong. I have to hold up the trunk, as you can see. But this thing is cavernous. In other words, it means it's really, really big. It's got a spare tire and the tools under there. I did look. I just don't have 3 hands. But you can see it's got the little pass-through there. Just a huge trunk. Let that drop. And now we'll come around to this side. Again, a couple scrapes and stuff, but not much in the way of dents or dings. It's, you know, got a couple. Again, this car is going to be sold price-wise commensurate with the condition. So have no fear of that. Here, of course, is your interior, your rear seat, which again is in excellent condition. Show you your headliner. There you go. Left rear door jamb. There you have it. And here, of course, is the door frame. Going underneath where the trouble spots could be. There you go. Close this up. And now we'll do the driver's door jamb. Again, by no stretch of the imagination is this car perfect. But also, believe me, it's going to be a fantastic value, because that's what I'm all about, is giving somebody good value for their hard-earned money. All right, driver's door, pretty nice. Couple little scrapes. About the only real dings or damage on the car is this left front fender, which looks a little wrinkled in here. And quite frankly, for probably, you know, $50, $100, you can have that fender replaced. So that's up to you if you want to spend the money on the car. I didn't feel it would add that much value and it would just cost you more money, so I decided to let you make that decision. Now, as you can see in the front, other than, you know, stone chips, which of course it should have, especially that mileage, the headlights are in good shape. Coming down low, and we'll look underneath. There you go. Alright, looks like somebody bothered to tell us that it takes 5 quarts of 10W30. So that says to me that this car was maintained. Alright, now this is the 2.7 liter motor, which I believe is the better motor, but you know, some people may argue with me, but I think it is. But the great news about this car is how good this darn thing runs. It runs fantastic. The motor doesn't smoke, it doesn't make noises. I mean, just a terrific car. Let me rev it up for you. And there you heard it, bringing it up to the rev limiter. There's no knocks, no valve train noises, no taps. I mean, honestly, when I was sitting over there videotaping the car, I actually had to make sure I had it running because I couldn't hear the engine. That's how good and quiet this thing is. So it's a very, very great running car. Oh, let me show you underneath the hood. right, we'll close this baby up. There you go, and the hood's in pretty decent shape. With, like I said, it's got, you know, it's obligatory stone chips. And it looks like it's got a valid New Jersey State inspection sticker until February of next year. So that gives you probably a good 9 or 10 months if you live in the state of New Jersey before you have to get the car inspected. But the car overall actually is a pretty decent looking car. And I've always thought that these, you know, these Chrysler Concordes, the LHSs, you know, even the Dodge Intrepid, always were a great looking car in each years. But what really matters is what we're going to do next. We're going to take it for a ride and see how she runs. All right, folks, a couple things I didn't talk about before. I just realized this vehicle does have remote keyless entry, and it does work. See, I just did it for you, and that opens them up. So that also means it probably has the factory alarm. I only have one key and one remote. I'm sorry about that. Now, what I did is the car's not running now. I let the car warm up sufficiently so you guys can see. You saw it start ice cold before. Now you're getting to see it start warm. On these older, higher mileage cars, you always want to do that. Again, whether you buy it from me or not, doesn't matter. Always make sure you do that. Air conditioning. The compressor goes on, the light goes on. I would say it's cool. I would not say this air conditioning is ice cold. So I don't know whether it just needs a little charge or what, but you know, I think it's just fair that I tell you everything I know. All right, let's take her for a ride, and I'll tell you what I can feel in here. I do know, like I said, we have driven this for a little while. I do know over some severe bumps you hear a little clunk, which is very typical of this mileage, this era of a car. You know, there might need shocks, might not. That'll be up to you to decide whether you want to do anything like that. But again, I don't feel the car is unsafe. I did have it checked over for safety. And like I said, it's all commensurate with the price I'm going to be selling this car. But we're going over regular bumps now. Look at this. Take my hands off the wheel. You know, the car goes straight down the road. So there's nothing drastically wrong front or rear, but I just want to let you know what I can hear. And that way it helps you make your mind up a little bit easier. And do know, you know, you're probably going to have to change the oil, maybe do some maintenance stuff. Like I said, throw a tire or two on it. You know, so it's not something you want to spend every dollar you have on. Just from the sheer standpoint of you might want to have a couple bucks in reserve in case you have to do some stuff. That's all. Just a little bit of friendly advice. Oh, gotta do my little K-turn here. This has a pretty big turning radius. This actually is a rather large car, even though it is the 6-cylinder engine, and you probably will get pretty good gas mileage. But anyway, I'm gonna shut up and take off at a pretty hard acceleration pace so you guys can see how she runs, sounds, and shifts. Here we go. We're 56 miles per hour. As you saw, it accelerated nicely. I wasn't to the floor, but I was hitting it pretty hard. Shifted very nicely through all 4 gears. So as far as the main systems, engine, transmission, you're good to go on this car. You're not going to get 10 years and 300,000 miles out of it, but you should get some pretty good, decent work out of it. Next thing I'm going to do is a little brake test for you guys, and all that consists of is I'm going to pull into this vacant lot across the street from my place. I know there's a little patch of loose gravel. I let go of the steering wheel and stand on the brakes, and we see what happens. You want to keep your eyes on the top of the steering wheel because that will tell you if there's a brake problem, if it grabs and goes one way or the other. So here we go. Hands off, and all right, well, happy to report, as I'm sure you saw, the steering wheel did not budge. It stopped quickly, it stopped straight. Pretty nice, I have to say, actually. The brakes felt really good. I didn't feel any pulsation. I didn't feel any, you know, like you said, you even saw yourself, it didn't pull one way or the other. So, yeah, I would say the brakes on this are in excellent condition. Now, of course, I haven't taken the wheels off and looked at the pads myself, but I'm just saying as far as the way they went, I think they're pretty darn good. All right, so let's do a little recap. This is a 2001 Chrysler Concorde with 186, and it just hit 200 miles. Interior is in decent shape. Exterior is okay, like you saw some of the paint and whatnot, but actually overall the car looks good. Seems to run good, seems to drive good, shifts good. Yeah, I mean, and believe me, for the money I'm going to be selling it for, it will be a very good value. But I'm going to pop this camera off here, and we're going to take it for a little walk around outside so you can get a little better view and idea of the entire condition of the outside of the car. So here we go. Oh, good, the sun went back in, so this will be a lot better for you guys to be able to see. There won't be that much glare. All right, here we go. So like I said, it's actually a very pretty car. Not perfect, you know, by any stretch, but you know what? For, like I said, this is going to be a great value. So if you need an inexpensive, nice looking, great value vehicle, 5-passenger, true 5-passenger car, this could be the one for you, and I hope it goes to a good home. Thanks.